I'm Jim Moreno, a trustee for the Coast Community College District. As a trustee, I have long championed career technical education. Across the state, we have built an unmatched capacity to prepare Californians for middle-skill jobs. The majority of the workforce in public safety and healthcare come from our classrooms, whether it is an auto technician, dental hygienist, nurse, police officer, fireman, IT technician, machinist, or an HVAC repair person. Our career technical education graduates keep California running. The CTE programs are especially important to our veterans returning from military service. The factories, media production studios, and retail stores of our state are populated with our graduates. Community colleges are the workforce engine of California. While we are proud of what we have done, the Strong Workforce Program provides an opportunity to take career technical education to the next level. The $200 million included in the community college system budget by the governor and the legislature comes to us on an annual basis and will enable us to update programs, expand capacity, and support emerging occupational areas. In this video, I want to talk with you about some of the fiscal and policy issues we as trustees will be part of implementing a strong workforce program for our students and the state economy. As a community college system, we must continue to invest in our CTE programs to meet emerging technologies and to keep our existing programs up to date. It is worth taking a few minutes to understand the financial commitment we must make. Yes, CTE programs are more expensive to operate than any other lecture-based classes such as English or history. But you must understand there are reasons for these differences. There are several factors that contribute to the cost of CTE. To start with, the typical class tends to have a limited number of students. The knowledge and skills taught do not lend themselves to large lecture-type classes. Since most coursework is hands-on conducted in specialized classroom space, enrollment must be limited by the number of workstations available and safety concerns. An instructor needs to closely monitor students' work to ensure tools and machinery are being used safely. In cases such as a nursing program, low faculty-student ratios are required by the Accreditation Nursing Board. By its nature, CTE classes will tend to be more classroom intense, meaning the number of students served and the attendance revenue generated will be less than in many other classes. For example, in computer-operated machine shops, there are fewer large machines that are available to a large number of students, and scheduling and multiple classes have to be accommodated. A second cost factor is the need for dedicated instructional spaces, whether an auto technology shop or a health science lab with mock hospital rooms. These programs use space that has to be dedicated to specific classes that are not flexible enough to be used by other programs. Additionally, specialized and frequently expensive equipment, such as a hospital monitoring equipment and police scenario simulators, are required for students to work on as part of their preparation for the certification. On top of this, our colleges must cope with rapid changes in many of the fields we offer instruction. This often calls for revising curriculum and continually updating software or equipment as the technology improves. To grasp the degree of the change and its impact, I invite you to talk with an auto technician who has been in the field for several years. Ask him or her about the technological changes they have seen in their industry. The same could be said for each of our CTE programs. Program costs can be further impacted by the cost of materials and software licenses. A program like welding can consume large amounts of metal for students to work on. A computer lab may use significant amounts of paper and ink. While software licenses are essential in computer classes, other courses may also be software dependent. Licensed software is an important part of many programs, whether it's for learning to estimate repair costs of repairing a car or to update ledgers in computerized accounting. Finally, the ever-changing content of most technology fields requires instructors to keep up to date by attending conferences and professional training on an ongoing basis. In most cases, they need to maintain their own professional certification to keep current with their subject areas. The investment called for in CTE is significant, but it is worth it. Our graduates enter the workforce well prepared to have successful careers and good paying jobs. It is fitting that we now turn to the issue of financing CTE programs. For my part, I am anxious to see these programs flourish and succeed to deliver high-quality education to the communities our colleges serve. As we all know, the basic funding for our colleges comes from hours of attendance, also known as full-time equivalent students, or FTES. The formula provides an amount of money per unit of FTES. Unfortunately, the formula doesn't distinguish the kinds of classes that are offered. A college earns the same amount of support per FTES whether it is a costly 15-student biotechnology class in a specialized lab or a large lecture sociology class. There is no recognition for the differential cost of these classes. Through special initiatives, categorical funds, and grants, colleges have received assistance in building and maintaining expensive programs like nursing or starting new programs like viticulture. This is where the strong workforce program is so important. It provides significant funds to colleges to offer more career technical education classes with a focus on meeting the workforce needs of our regions. These funds can be used to update and revise curriculum, provide startup costs for new programs, or update classroom and lab equipment. I don't think I have ever seen so much legislative interest in CTE as in the past few years. Most importantly, it is backed up by funding. It is our opportunity to demonstrate that we can prepare our students to enter well-paying careers as well as meet the state's workforce needs. Another significant source of funding is the federally run Perkins Act, which channels money to colleges to improve their career technical education programs. There are also state and federal grant opportunities which colleges may compete for. In addition, some colleges work closely with their workforce development boards to access funding from the Workforce Investment Opportunity Act, a federal local job training program. The Employment Training Panel is another source some colleges draw upon. A promising strategy that colleges are adapting to is to blend funds from different sources to expand the base funding for CTE programs. For example, in a multimedia class, one funding source can purchase updated equipment, a second source would provide content tutors, and third source can pay for the instructor to be trained in the latest version of the software the class uses. Each source has its own spending rules and reporting systems and may require additional technical administrative assistance. Faculty and administrators have to be well-versed in program requirements and monitor expenditures carefully. They also have to be concerned that the soft money amounts from each source may fluctuate year to year. The good news is multiple funding sources enable a college to do much more in CTE than it could if it relied solely on FTES. We should take a moment and acknowledge that the revitalization of CTE will be done in the context of many other campus needs. There is a delicate task of managing the college budget in order to meet both the general education and CTE courses of our students. Colleges need to think through what proportion of the instructional program should be focused on CTE given the cost differential for these classes. When budgets are tight and course selections need to be cut, there is a delicate balance for treating all programs fairly but maintaining access and viability. Fortunately, as board members, we have experienced faculty and administrative staff who wrestle with budgets and put together instructional offerings that meet the needs of general education students and the needs of those students who want to learn skills that will get them into the workforce. We take great pride in the success our CTE students enjoy. We know they do well in the job market, getting paid skill-based jobs. We also enjoy the accolades we get from employers. However, this is no longer enough. The Strong Workforce Program has been budgeted by the state for an additional $200 million annually to CTE programs. The funding comes with the expectation that we will focus on outcomes to a greater degree than we have in the past. Under the Strong Workforce Program, there are 3 kinds of outcome measures. 1, enrollment and completions. 2, the employment of graduates. And 3, the earnings of graduates. In this video, I'm not going to go into the detail of these measures. I invite you to watch the other videos in this series and/or consult the State Chancellor's website where the outcome measures are discussed in detail. You must be aware that your work is being measured in 2 areas that you have not previously been held responsible. These are the employment of graduates and their earnings. We are now asked where graduates are employed and if they are employed in jobs related to the classes they studied. In earnings, it is not just how much do graduates make, but do they achieve a living wage. Also, earnings before training will be compared with those after completion. We have always been concerned with whether our graduates get jobs and that they earn a decent living. We are now required to measure outcomes which are dependent on the economy. We should recognize it is harder for us to have a direct impact on these outcomes. Clearly, we can work to graduate the best possible candidates for the workforce, but cannot ultimately guarantee they will get jobs. That is the reason for our CTE Workforce Program is working closely with industry. There are a couple of additional concepts that the Strong Workforce Program introduces that have policy implications for our boards. The first of those is regionalization. The expectation is that colleges will work collaboratively on regional workforce issues. This is reinforced by 40% of the Strong Workforce money being dedicated to regional projects. For us as trustees, it means at the board table, we will be asked to support many operational and financial agreements with other colleges. The second area is incentive funding. Most of the Strong Workforce funding will be awarded on a formula-driven basis. A portion, 17% of the local and regional funding, will be awarded on an incentive basis. Colleges will be awarded points for achieving specified outcomes, and these point totals will drive what portion of the funding goes to an individual college. Again, this is new. Outcomes directly driving funding. Many of our colleagues have asked whether we can depend every year on the revenue we get from the Strong Workforce Program. The legislative intent is that this is an ongoing fund, but this comes with the expectation that there will be clear, successful outcomes. This is a long way of saying accountability is a policy area we need to pay close attention to. Given the strong foundation of CTE we have built in our colleges, I am confident we will meet these challenges. In this video, we have touched on fiscal and policy issues arising from the renewed attention to career technical education. I consider the Strong Workforce Program a legislative endorsement of the great job the community college system has been doing and a vote of confidence in our future. We are entering a new world of career technical education. Our economy is experiencing a shortage of qualified workers, and at the same time, we have many young people and displaced workers who are looking for careers to secure their future. I strongly feel our colleges are uniquely positioned to meet both of these needs. The success of career technical education and the system's Strong Workforce Program are critical to the future of California. As a community college trustee, I am looking forward to being a part of the dynamic future of our colleges, our students, and our society.